Very nice.
There we are. Okay. We are finally live. Google decided to allow us to continue on.
They gave us their blessing, I guess.
Their blessing. Awesome. Welcome everyone. My name is Lynette Davis and I'm the president of A&D Media, and I want to welcome you to my blogcast series, Marketing Superheroines and Marketing Superheroes Unite. So I am so delighted to welcome my very special guest, Cynthia Sanchez of Oh So Pinteresting. Welcome, Cynthia.
Hey, Lynette, thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, welcome. So, Cynthia, tell me a bit about yourself and how you serve the world with your unique superpowers, your USP.
Well, I think when it comes down to it, I am a teacher. That's what I do best. And everything I've done professionally, no matter what job, what career path I followed, and especially what I'm doing now, the part where I feel the best and where I can serve the most and provide back to the world is through teaching. And right now it just happens to be about how to use Pinterest as a social media marketing tool for businesses.
Awesome, awesome. I like that because a lot of people who may be in traditional teaching roles don't ever think of that as something very spectacular to them. And I think the best teachers out there are the ones who inspire and motivate others. So that is truly a very unique superpower to have.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And when it comes to teachers, I've had my share of good ones and not so great ones. And with my kids, I see them trying to help each other learn how to do different things and how to teach each other. And one of my daughters is just phenomenal at it. And I can see what a great teacher she is and how she approaches things. So in a way, I kind of try to model her a little bit.
Awesome. The teacher learns from the student, as they say.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, what I like to do is open up some dialogue about some common obstacles that come up for those of us who leverage social media marketing and leverage our social media superpowers as a part of our overall marketing strategy and our overall unleashing of our individual unique superpowers. So, what is your understanding about the interaction between other forms of marketing and what you do as a teacher and as a strategist and a speaker and all those amazing things?
I think it all has to work together. It all has to have a unified message. You can't say something, in one form of marketing and one form of what you're promoting or doing or presenting yourself as, and then having a completely opposite or different message on social media or wherever else you happen to be. It has to be consistent. It has to make sense, and it really has to be relevant to your business and what you're doing. For me, I always try to present information that's helpful or encouraging or supportive or something like that when I'm representing my business. I think on talking about different social networks on Instagram and on my personal Facebook profile, well, yeah, then it does become just a little bit more about me to get to know about my personality and who I am when I'm not presenting about Pinterest, but I try to, but it's all consistent. I'm not, talking about Pinterest, in my little cardigan and all that kind of stuff, and then go over to Instagram and put on my biker boots and show all the tattoos and all that. I mean, it's not me. It's very consistent all the way through.
Awesome, awesome. You said something that was important because sometimes when we think about consistency, you don't think about the outside appearance as in putting the cardigan and then the biker boots and hats and tats.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great observation. Everybody, about being consistent even in your branding with social media. And I know that with Pinterest, since it's very visual, it's easier to do that if you wish to do that, if you wish to be consistent in that visual branding, that you
Mhm.
can do that over on Pinterest.
And some people have really done that well. That really, I mean, somebody who's really tapped. There's a couple of people. Dustin Stout, with the images he creates, they're very consistent. When I see one of his images, it's like, oh, that's one of Dustin's images. So through the way, the types of images he creates, his style, I can tell that's one of his images. Ashley Fox over at Mad Lemmings does the same. On the Mad Lemmings blog post, podcast, show notes, images, very consistent, have a very consistent style. So when I come across those images on Pinterest or somewhere else, like, oh, that's from Mad Lemmings, I know where that is from. So they found their voice through their images. I don't think I've been able to do that yet. I still kind of end up doing one thing sometimes and something and other times, and it's not quite, I'm not that branded yet or that consistent with my imagery yet. But for me, it's mainly the content that stays, consistent, that it's about Pinterest, that it's, going to teach you something about Pinterest and how to use it. So yeah, Pinterest does offer you a different opportunity, especially to create that visual brand for yourself.
Awesome, awesome. And in alignment with being consistent and keeping up with your branding and everything, I know one of the things that I like to know, because as we are both social media managers in our own right, that there's tools that help us do that, besides the people behind the scenes, or even if that person is you. Usually there's so much technology out there. So how do you stay consistent with your content, even though you say you don't have this very, very in particular kind of voice, although I beg to disagree.
Well, just when it comes to the images, I think maybe consistency through my voice, what I say, what I write is there. But through the images, I'm still trying to, figure that out.
Awesome, awesome. So, in doing so, well, I don't want to go into a whole bunch of, different things, because there's so many tools. So let's keep it simple, right? So what's one of your favorite social media management tools to help you to be consistent with your messaging?
Yeah, I think one thing that is really helping me isn't really a scheduling tool, isn't an analytics tool or that type of thing for me, because it is Pinterest, it is about the images. And I found that Canva, because it saves all of my previous images within the platform, when I go to the tool and I open up my Canva account, I see every image that I've created on there before. So it lets me kind of reference, okay, I did that way before and I did this. What if I find something similar? So I'm trying to develop that voice. I'm trying to develop that brand, if you will, by using a tool that has everything right there available for me to see. So maybe I can take the same colors or the same style of photograph or the same fonts. I think I'm really consistent with the types of fonts that I use. That's probably the biggest consistency for me in my images. So that is my go-to tool right now as far as helping me create images for my blog posts, for my social media posts, for anything that I do that requires an image. And right now, that's pretty much everything that you do online. It should have some sort of image.
Awesome. Absolutely. I love Canva. I love Canva, and I think you're the first person to mention it. So
well, great. Yeah. It's easy. It's free. It's even if you have to buy a stock photograph from them, it's $1. I mean, it's very affordable and just all in one place.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So going along with that, that was like a super pause right there. No. But going along with that, now, like I said, Canva is one of my favorite tools, and like I said, there's so many tools out there. But you brought up something that to me was very more relevant than even the tools that we used. In talking about the integration of social media and all kinds of other marketing, you were able to mention two people right off the bat that you admire. And in doing so, that's kind of building relationship. That's giving them their kudos and props, even though, they might even do something very similar to you. So you didn't, now I don't know, I have to look them up, so I could be wrong. But by me listening to this and everybody else listening to this, you were handing us some resources besides just only plugging yourself. And to me, that's building synergy. So let's talk a little bit more about that synergy building and that relationship building.
Mm-hmm.
So many people get so wrapped up in all the tools that we forget to do things like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I see that happen too. They get caught up in the details and forget that it all comes back to the relationships and to the people that we're connecting with, that we're working with, that we're trying to serve, that are doing the same things that we are. One of my favorite parts, or I guess my favorite part, has to absolutely be, isn't that I've created a business about Pinterest. It's because it's the people that I've met through this. I've met you. I've met people all around the world that I never would have had the opportunity to meet and get to know if I hadn't followed this path that I'm on. So when I do have an opportunity and somebody's doing something that really stands out like they do, I'm more than happy to mention them. I'm more than happy to talk about them and to share with the world, so they can learn from them. It's really that social side of social media. I think it's taken businesses from being very closed and guarded and trade secret type of things that we're used to with old big corporations into being more of this community of a team of a group of people wanting to help each other out. We're all the little guys right now. None of us are huge big corporate global entities, and even the ones, that are getting that big. We have all these new startups that are, like the guys at Instagram. I bet you if we were to meet them on the street, just a few years ago, they were, just struggling like us, trying to come up with a great idea to build something big. They got bought out by Facebook. Now they're bazillionaires, and I'm sure if we met them on the street today, they'd be just as nice as they were back then, because it's a different mindset now, and I really appreciate that we can reach out to each other, talk, have conversations, help each other, refer each other, because we all have our unique, different gifts, talents, expertise, and services that we provide or products that we provide, for other people.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And you're right. The thing is sometimes we forget that, we see people who have quote unquote made it and we wonder, have they lost their soul or have they lost their way? And the thing is, a lot of people, if we do see them on the street, if they're authentic, and because of social media, in my opinion, because social media is what it is, it's hard not to be authentic.
Yeah, it would be hard to keep up with the lie, because what did I say last week? Yeah, it would be hard to keep that up.
Yeah. So that's something to definitely think about. And my I would say, I don't want to say it's my final question, but my thought is now kind of going to what you were saying about how they started off the small, and none of us have gotten there. We're not bazillionaires.
Not today, maybe tomorrow.
Not today, maybe tomorrow, definitely. But the thing is, even though we are small business owners technically, and we're not bazillionaires, we can still have that mindset of a bazillionaire. And one of the things that bazillionaires do and recognize is the fact that even in their unique superpowers, they have their sidekicks and their Justice League of people who help them keep everything rolling and working. I know I can talk these terms with you because I have followed some of your stuff, so I know you would dig the terms that I use.
Gotcha.
So, in your experience, so that we don't have to do this alone. We don't have to go hungry alone. Alone we starve. I heard this from an old group called the Hungry Entrepreneurs. I'm giving them a plug. Alone we starve, but together we eat, we feast.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
So, with that being said, what's some of the things that a small business owner can begin to start delegating so that they avoid that big burnout and they can get to that gazillionaire status at the very least mentally and where they are for the time being.
Yeah, and I think it really depends on where financially that business is. I mean, if you're just starting out, if you really haven't been in business that long, you may not have the budget yet to delegate and, hire people to do things for you. So sometimes it comes in the form of favors. What can you do for somebody else? And then maybe you can do something for them. Kind of have a bartering system. And you could do things, like images, maybe even social media bartering. I just had a lady, a friend of mine approach me. It's like, I really need to get started with social media, but I don't know what to do. And she has a completely different type of business. It's like, yeah, let's trade. Let's see what we can do. Let's help each other out. And even if I didn't need her services, let's say she had, something related to motorcycles, and we all know I don't own a motorcycle after our previous conversation. Maybe couldn't have a direct exchange, but maybe she knows somebody else that could use my services that, is and maybe a little bit more ready in their business to hire somebody to help them with social media. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that big budget expense. It could be just as simple as, bouncing ideas off of, a group of friends, or, get together, an impromptu mastermind out of people that are, really at the same level or motivation and really enthusiasm as you are in your business. And sometimes it's easy as just as having a good conversation with another business owner, because sometimes we forget that, or we don't have, a big community of people that are doing the same thing we do. So when we try to talk to the people that aren't doing the same thing we are, they don't get us. They don't understand, so that just that mutual friendship support thing is very encouraging and helpful and supportive to a small business owner trying to make their way through. And then, as the business grows, as the budget allows, hiring people to help you maybe with editing your copy, so you don't have to spend all that time reading and proofreading and editing. Maybe it's creating those images for you. And, once you get to the point where you can have maybe somebody really involved in your business, and really get to know the voice of the business, and then or you hire a professional agency to handle your social media, then that could be something that goes out, and gets a little bit more, outsourced. I'm sure you would recommend that you find somebody, and we all know what makes a good social media, representative or assistant or helper or, agency to hire, somebody that's really going to be involved, that knows the business, that's, knows what they should, how to handle the social accounts and, best practices for that. That's something that could be done. But, once again, whether you hire it out or it's something you do yourself, I think that consistency, maintaining that voice, that brand is very, very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm nodding my head like, yes, yes. Awesome. Cynthia, you have given us such valuable and great advice, and like such a great, constraint time period here. So that was awesome.
Well, thank you.
So, Cynthia, where can my viewers find out more information about you, and so that they can, be able to harness the power of what you have to deliver, and also what's one great last final piece of advice that you would like to give them in relation to being able to keep up with you and get those power boosters from the brand of Oh So Pinteresting.
Oh, thanks. Well, the best place to find out more about me, what I do, and what I teach about is at ohsopinteresting.com. And let's see, what would I have to say about that? And I guess a piece of advice for business owners to harness their superpower is to really take a look at yourself from an outside perspective. If you were to see somebody else doing exactly what you were doing, what would you say about what they've accomplished, what they've done, what their strength is? I think sometimes we are our own harshest critic, and we don't recognize or give ourselves credit for the accomplishments we've made, or what we're doing, and really recognize what our superpowers really are. So maybe take a little bit of time and look back and see what that is, and then learn more about that. How can you refine that? How can you fine tune that? How can you work out that superpower muscle and make it even stronger and become a bigger, better version of yourself? Maybe it is by learning more things, teaching, taking courses, or just practicing. Sometimes it's just as simple as that.
Awesome, awesome. I am all for Viva the practice, as my phrase is activation time. So again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Cynthia, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your bit of wisdom with everyone.
It's my pleasure. It was a great time.
Awesome. Until next time, everybody, take care.